Hello, welcome to On the Spot Thought, where the only thing premeditated is the topic at hand. I'm here with Joanna Lind. Today we're going to be talking about traveling and resting. Now, Joanna, you had a job with the airport this summer. You want to tell us what that was like?
Yeah, so it was definitely an interesting experience working at the airport here where it's a very small airport, so we don't have any...
Here in Manhattan?
Yes, okay, can I say where we
are?
I don't know. Okay, so here in Manhattan, the airport that we have is small. We get 7 flights a day, no connecting flights. You're coming here and you're to stay, you're not connecting. Mm-hmm. We're not like a major hub that they use to route traffic through. So it was definitely an interesting experience. The people that I met there have their own interesting sense of humor.
Yeah.
It's very PG-13. I'll say that for sure. Yes. Definitely not anything that I would like take part of on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. But as far as like actual like traveling and stuff like that, I did get to do a lot of traveling this summer. I recently I saved all my boarding passes and I laid them all out and counted them up, and I've been on 17 planes this summer.
Wow.
It was pretty great.
Yeah.
Traveling is something that I love to do. I made the mistake of going to New York City with someone who I did not know.
Yeah.
A guy who I didn't know.
Okay.
And hated the entire experience.
That sucks.
But loved the city.
Yeah.
Hated the experience, loved the city. Yeah. So needless to say, I don't think I'll be traveling with strange men anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, New York it's one of those places where it's very busy and there's a lot of stuff going on, and if you're with someone that you're also just you don't know very well, navigating that could be stressful and not great. Was he someone you worked with?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he still works there too.
Oh, okay.
And
that's fun.
I hope he never listens to this, but it's a little awkward.
It's doubtful that he will, but
yeah, it's just a little bit awkward.
Yeah.
But we get through it. I don't work with him very often.
Yeah.
For a specific reason, which sucks because he was the one who got me the job in the first place.
Wow, that's cold. I'm just kidding.
You know me.
You know me. So you said the humor is very PG-13. Would you say that affected your mood at work at all, or affected your work in any way?
I don't think that it's necessarily affected my mood necessarily, because it is funny.
Yeah.
I do laugh.
Yeah.
So it most of the time it puts me in a good mood, but then it doesn't put me in a good mindset outside of work. I tend to think like that when I'm outside of work, and the circles that we run in, that would be very frowned upon.
Yeah.
So that's been kind of a little bit difficult for me, just to get back into the I guess Christian mindset, if you want to say that.
And there's kind of there's a both and where you don't want to envelop yourself around that, but at the same time, you don't want to just distance yourself from that crowd entirely, because they're not always terrible people. That's just how they grew up. They grew up with that kind of vocab and stuff like that. Yeah. So that's just what they use. And some of the people I worked with were very expressive with their words, but they were good people. That's just how they grew up.
Yeah.
But so back to traveling.
Yes.
When you travel, what would you say you like to travel with most? Would you travel with family, friends? What's kind of the pros and cons to each of those?
So I've traveled with, I would say there's 3 different types you can travel: alone, friends, and family.
Yeah.
And I've done all 3 this summer.
And you did the 4th one, strangers.
Yes, strangers. Okay, so all 4 categories. Let's go through them in detail. Strangers, don't do it.
Big no.
Well, that's all we'll say about that. We won't talk about category 4.
Okay.
Family, I traveled to Nicaragua this summer with my family for a missions trip, which was amazing, phenomenal, awesome.
Yeah.
All those super descriptive words. That was really fun, mostly because With my sisters, we'd never been out of the country together before. So that was awesome, just seeing them get to, like, experience a new culture and experience more like a third world country. I would say that I bonded a lot with my youngest sister, or not my youngest sister, sorry, my middle sister. So the pro of that would be you know them already. You've lived with them. You grew up with these people. Like, they know exactly what you need and how you live and, like, your life bathroom habits and stuff like that. So it's really easy to travel with these people because you know them. The con would be that it's also really easy to get mad at these people because you live with them and you know their habits and you know what they do. So, you know, it wasn't perfect. We yelled at each other for sure. I tried not to get upset with them because we were also with other people too. But and then my father is an amazing human being, and he's so helpful at so many things. But he's also so at so many things. I'm not sure what the adjective would be. He's great. We didn't stay in the same room, so it was fine.
Oh, okay.
But yes, so pro is they know you, con is they know you.
Kind of, it's a double-sided coin there.
Yes. Traveling with friends is so much fun. That would probably be my favorite, traveling with friends. Because you're not allowed to get mad at them. So you just kind of have to internalize it all. And when they're being annoying, you just... It's fine.
They're friends, so there's a little more lenience there.
Yes. I would say that with friends, you laugh about it a lot more. And you have a lot more inside jokes with friends. For instance, like last year when we went to the fair, like I would say that would be us traveling together. That was really fun. Like, you know, big group travel is really fun. The most traveling I did with friends this summer was just like with one here and there. So it wasn't like a big group. But I would definitely say traveling in a huge group of friends is the way to go. As expensive as that is, it's the way to go. So pro of that is you just have a lot of fun, a lot of inside jokes that you come back and make all your other friends jealous. And then con of that would be you're not allowed to get mad at them. So
kind of branching off a couple of those things that you had said, why do you think it is that we don't internalize that anger with family, but we do with friends? Why do you think that is?
I think because we're afraid of offending people. Because I know that with my family, at the end of the day, they're my family, and they're still required to love me by law.
By law.
They're required to love me. If I make one of my friends mad, they're not required to love me by law. Like, they could say, you know what? Screw you too. I'm leaving. And, you know, like, maybe that's not a good, like, mark of a friend. Like, if your friend is going to leave you because you make them mad, then that's not a good mark of a friend.
But I kind of see where that's coming from with family. I mean, if you get in a fight, you get in an argument, I mean, you're still going to come back together at some point in the future, whether that be a family reunion or some kind of family event. So you're going to see them later, no matter what. And so that bond can continue to strengthen despite all these arguments, where, especially in an early friendship, if you are continually getting arguments, they just might not hang out with you as much anymore, or just kind of distance themselves a little bit. And it's a lot easier to do that with friends than with family. Now, I guess in some ways, do you think it would be better for us to internalize some of those angers with family, or do you think it'd be better to externalize some of those frustrations with friends?
I think it would be better to externalize them with friends. Because then that could, like, even improve the relationship. Like, hey, this is something that I don't like that you're doing. Can we work on that at all? Even in, like, relationships, too. Not just friends. But then there's always the risk of, you know,
And I guess if you follow the path of a relationship, right, you have a friend who you hang out with, and then you internalize all that, and even early, like, relationship, you're going to internalize most of that stuff. But as you get further and further along the relationship, which is in a way getting closer and closer to a family setting, you're going to externalize more and more of that. I think an important thing with externalization is that you don't do it in an aggressive manner, which a lot of people tend to go to an aggressive manner, and I'd say most people do in some way, shape, or form. It's hard to be frustrated and then sit down and be like, hey, this is frustrating me. Is there something we can do about this? As opposed to, hey, I don't like what you did. Stop. Where if you take an aggressive tone, they're going to take a defensive tone, and that just never helps anything out in the end. That was really far off topic from what we were talking about.
That's
but
great.
That's how conversations work from time to time. But
well, like going off of that, like with my sisters, I would just yell at them, flat out, yell at them. I would never yell at any of my friends unless I was like way up here. But I've never yelled at anyone before. So
and I don't really get mad at people very often. The only person I can remember getting mad at is my younger brother. I don't know what it was, but I think the cool thing about, and I don't know if you had this with your siblings, but with my siblings, we'd get mad at each other, but there was a very quick cool down time. I don't know if that's siblings or just being guys, in some way, shape, or form, but I remember there was one time I was having an argument with my brother. Like, I got home from sports, and he was playing video games, and it was Friday, and I'm like, Hudson, it's my turn to play video games. And he's like, nah, man, I'm still playing. There's this, just like the whole, Hudson was like, I hate you. And I'm like, what? And then I left, and then I think it was like an hour and a half, 2 hours later. I opened the door to the basement, and I'm like, hey, Hudson, you want to go toss the football around outside? He's like, yeah, sure, why not? And then we tossed the football around in the backyard.
Yeah, I think there's a difference between brothers and sisters.
Yeah, I think that's a big difference. This
didn't personally happen to me, but my two younger sisters, Bridget and Claire, one time, so Bridget's older, and Bridget can drive, and she can still drive. Anyways, so they were at track practice. And Claire had done something to make Bridget very, very angry, and so Bridget just left Claire there and drove away. Literally drove away.
Wow.
And my mom is telling me this story, because I was already here at school, and my mom is telling me this story, and I'm just like, I would never. I would put Claire, I've gotten mad at Claire many times before, but if that situation had arisen, I would put Claire in the car, and I would drive off with her, but we would just be mad at each other in the car, but I wouldn't leave her. Yeah. So that was a very extended, being mad at someone. I don't remember how the situation was resolved, but I was just like, what?
It's always different for different people, so there's no set in stone way, but that's crazy.
Yep.
So, yes.
Personal travel?
Personal
Pros and cons of traveling by yourself? Okay. So, pro of traveling by yourself is you can do what you want. You can go wherever you want. You're on your time. You don't have to be watching out for anyone else. You just have to be watching out for yourself.
Can't get mad at other people.
Exactly.
When you're traveling by yourself.
Only get mad at yourself, which you shouldn't do.
You're a lot more lenient with yourself, though. You're like,
I missed that train. It's fine. I'll catch the next one. I'll be late. Okay.
No one else mind? Fantastic.
So I tend to get when we're in a new city, I am very I like to think of myself as directionally gifted. Yeah. So when I'm in a new city, I always have to orient myself. I'm like, okay, here's where I need to go. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, so here's where we need to go. For instance, when we were in New York City, I was traveling with this stranger, and I was like, okay, we need to take the train uptown towards the Bronx. And he was like, no, we need to go downtown towards the Bronx. Yeah. And I was like, you can do that. I'm going to go uptown. Because that's where, and I don't know if it is the Bronx. Maybe it was somewhere else. But we definitely needed to go uptown. But he was saying we need to go downtown. And I was like, no, okay, so a map of New York City. Pretend it's on a wall. Yeah. Here's up and here's down. We need to go up. Uptown.
Uptown, yeah.
So, I just get very angry when people aren't directionally as good as I am, which is something I need to work on personally.
Yeah. I think that's funny. You use the term directionally gifted. I tell people I'm directionally challenged a lot, and just I don't know what it is. I very much zone in on what I'm doing at hand, and then when you're in a car with other people, a lot of times you're talking with them, or when I'm driving, I like to listen to music, and so I'm paying attention to where I need to go, but I don't necessarily remember the route that I'm taking. So it's just I never know which way is which. And it was funny one time I was joking about this with someone. I was like, yeah, I'm directionally challenged, and they're like, I'm so sorry. And I was like, no, like it's not an issue. It's not a disability. I'm just not good with directions.
I'm not going to be covered by the government because.
Yeah, they were just. I'm so sorry. Like it's fine, but that's also why I don't usually take lead on something unless, like, if I organize the event, I will sit down, memorize everything I need to know about it, and then I can take lead on that. But otherwise, I let the more gifted people take,
like myself,
like yourself, take control in a situation like that. Yeah.
Yep. The con of traveling by yourself, though, is that it's really boring.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have anyone to share those inside jokes with you. So I went to Chicago by myself a couple of days ago, and I like to say I'm directionally gifted, but I'm only directionally gifted when my phone is working.
Oh, so Google Maps is directionally gifted.
Right. But like it wasn't working to the point where like I couldn't orient myself in the city.
Oh yeah.
So it took me, once I got off the train, it took me probably like 25 minutes to find the bean. You know what I'm talking about? Like the Chicago bean? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It's called Cloudgate. No, it's not anywhere close to a bean. It looks like a bean, but it's called Cloudgate.
Okay.
Anyways, I finally found it, and when I found it, I was like, this is literally like 2 blocks from where I started. But I walked up and down and around. It's like, and then I was talking on the phone with my mom because within 25 minutes of my plane landing, I didn't tell my mom I was going to Chicago by myself because I knew she would freak out because I'm a female, and females, it's harder for us to travel by ourselves. That's the other con.
Yeah.
So within 25 minutes of me being on the ground in Chicago, I get a phone call from my mom that's like, what are you doing in Chicago? Why aren't you in Kansas anymore? Mom, it's okay. Are you by yourself? Yes, I'm fine. And so while I was on the phone with my mom, I walked past where I needed to go. So like, same thing as you, I was very focused on trying to calm my mother down.
Yeah.
So yes, I don't remember why I started telling that story.
Yeah.
But that is a con of traveling by yourself.
Yeah.
It's pretty boring.
Yeah.
But Chicago was great. I loved it. I'd go back.
Yeah. It's cool seeing those locations, but like if you see like a funny sign or something, you like, and then you turn and they're not there, which is kind of a downside, but that unrestraint is also quite nice.
Yes.
And if you have like a really close friend, you can also almost feel that lack of restraint in a way because you know each other so well.
Yeah.
So, kind of keeping the same topic, we'll come back to it in a moment, but moving on to the resting portion, where do you best find your rest? So how do you, like, say you have a long day, or maybe long days energize you or whatnot, just kind of where you at on that spectrum?
Long days do not energize me.
Okay.
They drain me. I do like to be doing things, like I like to stay busy. I feel like I like feeling productive, like today, for instance, I was very productive. But I am definitely looking forward to going back to my room after dinner and just sitting there and watching some Netflix for a little bit and eating some chocolate. That's very important. I have to eat chocolate in order to rest.
Yeah. That's a necessity. If you don't have chocolate, you just can't. Yes.
So that is I have to rest. I also have to, I don't know if you would consider this rest, but like when I wake up in the morning, I have to have an hour of time, like almost an exact hour before I can get myself together and start my day. So like if my class starts at 9:30, I have to get up at 8:30. I can't get up at 9:15 and walk out the door.
Oh yeah.
So
you kind of need that. Do you think that's more of a mental preparation time, or is that just going through the motions?
It's definitely mental preparation, but it's also like me trying to wake up and get like find my brain again after it's been asleep.
Yeah.
So I would call that rest too.
Just
resting for the day.
Yeah.
Even though I just woke up from sleep, but
yeah. No, I can get that. I kind of have a similar way. I kind of see it. I have an energy gauge. And so I'll wake up in the morning, and that energy gauge, depending on what happened yesterday, let's assume it's full in the morning. And I go out to my classes. That doesn't usually take up too much. Social interaction usually takes up a whole lot of my energy. Because growing up, I wasn't real great with just being super out there and communicative. And so I put in extra effort to do that. And so it's been awesome, but also it just seems to drain the bar more and more. So if I'm out all day with people, or if I've been working all day, it kind of lowers that gauge. And so say day one, I have a full day, I'll probably get down to about 50%. And I'll feel pretty good because it's been a productive day. And I'll go to bed, wake up the next day. But just sleeping doesn't refill the gauge. So I'm starting the next day with 50%. And then if that goes on, I'll just be running on fumes by the end of the week. And so my kind of rest is sitting down in a chair doing nothing productive, but whether that be watching TV or playing a video game or just writing or reading or something like that. Just kind of me time. I call it a mental break.
Yep.
There's like a physical rest, which is what you do when you sleep at night, but then there's that mental break that I need to refill the gauge.
Yep.
But also the other side of that coin is when I get to 100%, I don't want to sit around anymore. I want to use that. There's nothing more that I get from resting. And so when I was just sitting around the other day, I had nothing to do. And I don't know what it is. When I'm at that 100%, I have no desire to do anything within the house by myself. And there's no one here. So
there were people here, but you just didn't reach out.
Well, I reached out to a couple of the people that I knew were here, and then they weren't available, and so yeah. But it's really that stare at the wall mentality.
Yep.
I think I literally was staring at a wall for like 30 minutes because I'm just like, what am I supposed to do? Because at that point, watching TV or anything mindless like that feels like a waste of time. Like I'm wasting my time right now. I need to do something.
So staring at a wall is more productive.
It feels less like wasting your time in a way. And I think that's part of what culture has grown up. Like you grow up and they're like, stop watching TV, go read a book, go outside, go play. And so they kind of instilled that it's not the best thing to do with your time or whatnot. And they still have that with video games. It's like, you're playing video games?
No shooter video games.
Nerd. Yeah.
You're going to go shoot up a Walmart.
Violence. Yeah, the whole violence thing around that. We're not going to get into that, but...
No, let's not. I don't know enough about that.
Yeah. But
so when you've you've had this long busy theoretical work week, right? So how long does it take you to sit and watch TV until you're back to 100%?
So there was so I'm gonna do one of the last weeks of the summer, kind of real empty gauge. That whole week we had worked 10 plus 9 or 11 plus hours each day that entire week, and so that meant work, go home, eat, shower, sleep, essentially for that whole week. And so Friday night I would get home, I'd eat dinner with my family, and then I would sit down, do nothing for 3 hours, go to bed. And then I'd wake up the next day, and I would need a good chunk of that next day to fully recover. So that next day I could sit down and do nothing for the entirety of the day, and just to recharge. And then that Sunday I will start to kind of I can still do it for a bit, but I wouldn't do it all day.
Yeah.
So
so a good 48 hours.
A good 24 to 48 hours is what it takes to refill it, but anything more than that, and I can't do it. But yeah, so it's kind of interesting how that works. Dawson. Yeah, interesting things about Dawson Daily, but it's I also for me, I don't know what you do with rest. For me, I don't want to rest until everything I've done is complete, and what goes along with that for me is I don't want to eat supper, because I see supper as what you do right before you're doing nothing for the rest of the day. And so I don't like to eat supper until I'm done with everything else, and then there's supper, and then there's resting and doing nothing. And so throughout college, what it's mostly been, supper has been at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, just because because it's like 6 o'clock and that's supper time, but I have homework to do. I have things to go to, and I don't want to eat until I'm done with all of that. And so lunch is at a consistent time each day, but then supper is not till I'm done, at least if I have a say in it. So, yeah, when do you most like to rest?
I would say at the end of the day, too.
Yeah.
I'm still stuck on the you don't eat until...
Yeah. Yep.
I'm just still stuck on that.
Yeah, I don't like to... Like, I'll eat a snack or something, but I won't eat the meal until I'm pretty much done with the day. At least since in college I am the one dictating my meal, so that's when I do it. But
then doesn't that result in, like, maybe, like, a 1 a.m. bedtime or something like that?
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Interesting.
And, yeah.
See, I need that, like you say you snack, but, like, I need that for, like, that food for mental fuel.
Oh,
almost.
yeah.
Like, do you watch Parks and Rec?
I did. I didn't watch the whole thing, but yeah.
Well, there's an episode where Chris Pratt's character, Andy Dwyer, goes, I don't remember the context of the episode, but he's talking about how he's like, did you know that your food becomes energy? And he, like, punches like, marshmallows.
Yeah.
And then he does another thing and he's like, potatoes. Yeah. Or, like, that was my dinner or something like that. So, like, that's how I look at it. It's like, I need this food to, like... And ever since I watched that episode, I'm always like, okay, what food am I using as my energy now? But that's the way I look at it. So that's just very interesting that you don't eat until after you're done.
Yeah.
You don't find that, like, you're starving and then you can't focus on your homework?
For me, rather, it's more of a motivating factor. There's something at the end of the tunnel. So it's like I have dinner after this, so once I get done, I can eat dinner, and so that helps me to focus more on my work. Whereas if I eat dinner beforehand, what I'm thinking during work is all I have after this is sleeping. And as much as I love sleeping, I get more enjoyment out of eating dinner most of the time. So yeah, it's kind of like a carrot on a stick kind of an idea.
All right.
Or that's where I'm headed.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I see that.
I kind of like that, actually.
Yeah.
I kind of do. But unfortunately, as a person who is governed by a dining hall schedule, I cannot do that. And I'm sure when you lived in the dorms, you also could not do that.
Yeah,
but
I couldn't do that back then. But
I do like the concept of, like, knowing that you have nothing else left for the day. That's why I enjoy morning workouts, is because I'm like, great, I've already got my workout done for the day. I don't need to think about it anymore. So I think definitely I like to rest at the end of the day, too.
Yeah.
However, I still have the ability to watch TV even when I've got a 10-page paper to write. You know, it's not great.
Yeah, it's not great.
Or I'll, like, want to watch TV, but I'll, like, watch it and do my homework at the same time.
I can't imagine. Does that actually work out for you?
It has.
Okay.
Before.
Okay.
When I'm doing, like, I can do it when I'm doing math, because it's not any reading. And so that was great. My, like, first 2 semesters of college, I took 2 math classes, and I had homework in both of them, so it was really easy. I would just come back to my room, turn on some Friends, and do my homework. I do it a lot during finals week, because I have a really good long-term memory, but not a very good short-term memory. For facts and schoolwork and stuff like that. So when I go to review stuff for finals, I'm normally like, oh yeah, I kind of already know this. Like, I remember talking about this, and I remember the overview of this. So I can do it really well during finals. I once watched all of Friends in one finals week.
How many seasons is Friends?
10.
10. Is there even enough time in a week to do that?
I don't know. Maybe it was more like it was a large amount of Friends. I remember getting a text from Kemp and being like, "What are you doing right now?" And he, like, followed it up with, like, "Please don't say watching Friends."
And as you're watching Friends, as the screen is illuminating your face, you're like, "No, no, I'm not."
Pretty much. That Friends is my go-to because I've seen it so many times. It's just kind of like background noise at this point. Where did we start with this?
We were talking about resting to some extent.
Okay.
So, but to kind of branch off your Friends thing for a moment, I knew a girl back in high school who had seen The Office 9 times within, I think it was 2 or 3 years.
Oh my god.
Just all the way. I couldn't believe it. She's like, I'm watching The Office. I was like, how many times have you seen The Office? She's like, this is my 9th time. And I was like, 9th time?
It's probably more by now.
Yeah. If you think about it, she's probably watched it at least 4 more times. I mean, yeah.
2 years? How many years has it been since you last talked to her?
Probably about 2-ish years. It was probably... I asked her that.
18 times!
Yeah, 18. Double it. Man, it's crazy. Like, after you've memorized just about every line in a TV show, how do you still watch it? Because you said you've seen Friends a lot.
Well, I haven't memorized it.
Okay, yeah. I guess Friends is 40-minute episodes.
No, they're 20.
They're 20?
They're for the 30 minutes.
I really should get caught up with Friends.
Yeah.
But,
some people like it, some people don't.
Yeah.
If it's not your cup of tea, that's
Yeah.
okay. I'm not gonna yell at you for not liking Friends. I can see watching The Office 9 times through because it's very mindless. There's not a lot of plot. There's not a lot of there is character development, but it's not
it's mostly quips and jokes and stuff like that.
I knew a dude who had watched Game of Thrones 4 times through
Game of Thrones
in 2 years. And that's not something that's mindless, right? You have to pay attention to the plot and everything like that.
Intense.
And then at the end, this was my freshman year of college.
Yeah.
Over Christmas break, towards the end of Christmas break, he was like, "Yeah, I started reading the books." And I was like, "Okay."
There are other shows out there. You know that, right? That's crazy.
Okay, he just liked it a lot. He spoiled a little bit of it for me, and I was like, "That's fine.
No, that's cool."
Whatever, it's good. Yeah, but 4 times through for Game of Thrones. And I think at the time it had been he had watched it 3 times through in a year and a half.
Why? Is there?
Well, here's what he did. He watched it through once, and then I'm pretty sure he liked it so much that he watched it again. And then, which that's reasonable.
Okay.
I would have understood that. And then he started watching it with one of the girls who also lived on my floor.
Okay.
So they were watching it together.
Okay.
So then they watched it all the way through, and then the new season was getting ready to come out.
Oh, he wanted to refresh.
And he was like, "I'm just gonna rewatch the whole thing in preparation for the new and last season."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Okay."
I feel like you got it down, buddy. I think you know what's going on.
I watched it 1 time through, and I still haven't seen the last season, and I probably will never watch it again.
Yeah, I haven't finished it. I only watched 2 seasons. I mean, I have a thing where I like to start a lot of things, but I just don't end up completing them.
Mm-hmm.
Just with game shows, not game shows, but games and shows. Yeah, 2 different words. Very important. That jellyfish dynamic.
Boy, friend. 2 different words.
Boy and a friend. They're 2 separate words. They're not the same thing. Oh. Or jelly and fish. I don't know if you've seen that video on...
No.
That's a side tangent.
Okay. Let's stick with the topic.
Stick with the topic at hand. So with kind of resting and traveling, would you say you can rest while traveling in any of those 4 different ways of traveling?
Not with strangers.
Not with strangers?
That's super stressful. But you can do it definitely in all 3 of the other categories. Yeah. I would say that you could do probably my ultimate rest vacation would definitely be a spa weekend. I would even just do it with my mom.
Mm-hmm.
I love my mom. I would travel with my mom. I actually wanted to go to Mexico with her this summer because working for the airport, you get some benefits there. Free flights.
It's all right.
Yeah,
it's pretty nice.
It's good. So I definitely think you can rest on a nice beach in Mexico. But you also have to because my form of resting is watching Netflix, which is Because that's my form of resting. When I go on vacation and rest, I have to change what I do.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not really like productive for me to go and watch Netflix in my hotel room in Mexico. You know, I'm in Mexico. I want to like see it a little bit. So my form of resting in Mexico would be like sitting on the beach reading a book.
Yeah.
Because then you're on the beach, you're still like seeing the scenery, experiencing the people and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
So I think you can still rest while you're traveling. You just have to change the way you do it.
Yeah. Do you think you've gone on very many vacations or traveling excursions where you've been resting or you felt rested during it?
Mm-hmm.
And what's an example of one, if you care to share?
Right before I went to school, my family and I took one kind of like last hurrah vacation
Mm-hmm.
together. We went to Bonita Springs, Florida. One of my mom's best friends owns a condo down there.
Mm-hmm.
In this old retirement community. Like, it's a really nice condo, but you know, people go to Florida to buy nice condos. They're
Mm-hmm.
generally retired.
Yeah.
So we were down there for 10 days. It felt like a really long time. But by the end of the week, I was like, you know what? Like, all we did was drive around, go to different beaches, sit
Mm-hmm.
on the beach, and then go home and sit around and watch TV.
Yeah.
So I definitely felt very rested
Mm-hmm.
after that vacation. Except, I also went to Disney World while we were there.
Yeah.
And I was there, I went with a friend, and, because he happened to be in Florida at the same time that I was, and he was like, hey, you've never been to Disney World, let's go to Disney World.
Mm-hmm.
We left the house at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I didn't get back to our condo until 3 o'clock the next morning.
Dang.
Yeah, we did all 4 parks in one day, like, walked like 14 miles,
Yeah.
30,000 steps. It was insane. So that was not a restful day. Like, it was fun. I really enjoyed seeing Disney World, because I'd never been there before.
Uh-huh.
But that was not part of the restful vacation.
Yeah. I can't... I'm sure there are some people out there that can feel rested at Disney World, but I have not met such a person,
Mm-mm.
because that place is just always packed. I think it's crazy how often.
Yeah.
That's just how it's always packed.
You spend so much money to fly down there, stay in their hotels, get their day passes, whatever, like,
Mm-hmm.
probably like $200 for a day pass or something. It's ridiculous like
yeah.
that. And you can't even see, like, everything in one day. So it's
Mhm.
not even like you're getting your money's worth out of it. Like, yeah, it's cool, and I would definitely recommend the Avatar ride, but we waited in line for 2 hours and 35 minutes.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's
to ride
just...
on the new Avatar ride.
Like, is it worth it at that point? I mean...
For the Avatar ride,
The
yeah,
Avatar.
it was really great. Like, I would have definitely waited in
Yeah.
line for another 2 hours just
Okay.
to do it again. But for any other ride,
Yeah.
no.
I think it's crazy because it doesn't feel worth it, and yet people still do it for every ride, just about every
Mhm.
ride. That's just...
Yeah.
It's astounding.
And the people who say that Disney World is only for little kids, that's also not true, because Disney World is for any age. There's
Okay.
stuff there for any age.
Yeah.
I liked there's a section in I think it's in the Hollywood area. I'm not exactly sure what it's called.
Yeah.
But it looked like straight out of a movie from the 50s.
Huh.
Or just straight out of the 50s, I guess. It doesn't have to be from a movie.
Yeah.
It was really cool. Like, I like stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, you pretend you're in the 50s while you're in 2017.
Yeah. No, that's pretty cool.
So, yeah.
Not a sponsor.
Yeah, not a sponsor.
But, yeah, no, that's... Yeah, I haven't personally been to Disney World. We went to SeaWorld when I was really young, but funny... So, random funny story about SeaWorld. So, I had to have been like 7 or 8. I was really small, and I was terrified of heights. And there was this one ride where you go through this dark tunnel, and then you come out, and it's not that steep, but it's a pretty steep fall. It's like a water ride, and then it splashes you with water. Well, I was terrified of that. I was like, I don't want anything to do with that.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad trying to, expose me to different things, not have me trapped in fearing heights my entire life, was like, you're going to do this, and you're going to go on this ride. I was like, I don't want to go on this ride. I want to go on this ride. And he's like, we can go on that ride after we go on this ride. And I was like, okay. And so I got on this ride, scared the crap out of me. And I get done. I'm like, just super terrified. And I was like, can we go to this ride now? And he's like, no, we don't have time. We have to head out. And so we had to leave. And I felt so betrayed. I was like, but he said... And
Dad, you said.
I was like, you said. I still bring it up to him every once in a while. He's like, you were scarred as a child, weren't you? I was like, yes, I was. It wasn't as big of a deal. It's not anything big, but it was just, I thought that was hilarious. I just straight up lied to. But
what childhood memories are bringing most trauma to your current life? My dad lied to me.
He lied to me. He told me. But it's good. I mean, nowadays I'm not terrified of heights. Not a huge fan of heights, but yeah.
Has it started?
Yeah, it has.
Oh.
Okay. So back to a moment on traveling. You travel a lot, it seems like, or at least recently. What was one of your favorite places that you've gone?
Like this summer specifically, or in my entire career of traveling?
Let's do entire career.
Okay. I would say.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Don't worry, you're not the only female to be distracted by me. It happens pretty often.
Okay. My favorite place was probably London.
Yeah.
I really liked the vibe that London gave.
Mm-hmm.
I went there when I was 16 years old, so it's been a long, long time since I've been there.
Yeah.
I plan on going back.
Yeah.
In the spring. Super excited. Sorry.
It's all right. Ecstatic house in here.
Yeah, there's a lot of background noises. 16-year-old me really liked London because 16-year-old me was obsessed with One Direction.
Oh, okay. So that was the connection that
Yes.
brought it together.
Yes. And I was so hoping to see them when I was there. Of course I did not, but
I'm sorry to hear that.
It's okay. I'll have my moment
Yeah.
one of these days. But all like joking aside, London is a beautiful town.
Yeah.
There's this area called Kensington, which is like the Kensington Palace,
Yeah.
the area where all the royals live. But the houses are they're all white, and they've got like black doors, and then the black like fences, the wire fences.
Yeah.
I don't know, metal fences.
Yeah.
The black metal fences. And they all just look so neat and so like tidy and together, and like you just wouldn't even know that they're hiding like a plethora of scandals. Probably. I don't know. I've seen a lot of like British movies, like Love Actually.
We don't know for sure, but
yeah,
they could.
But I really like the architecture.
Yeah.
It really helps that they speak English,
Mm-hmm.
so that really helps. They do drive on the other side of the road, which is actually a bucket list thing of mine, to drive
Really?
like where I'm like sitting in the passenger seat, but I have a steering
Yeah.
wheel. So to drive on the left side of the road.
Very dangerous bucket list
Yes.
idea, but
Yeah.
you can do it. Yeah.
was working on signing the contract today for the study abroad program for K-State, and one of the things is like K-State strongly discourages driving in another country because of different traffic laws, and I was like, you strongly discourage it, but you don't prohibit it.
Yeah. It's
So I don't think I'm old enough to rent a car in England, but maybe I'll make a friend who owns a car who will let me drive.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, Josh.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I'd say my only connection to London personally is I have a Lego set that I got when I was 13 or 12. It's a massive Lego set. I think it had like over 1,000 pieces. It was just absolutely massive. But it's of the London Bridge. And so that I really enjoy that bridge. I think it's really cool. And so I have that. It's hanging over my bed in my house.
Is the London Bridge the one that can go like this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty sweet.
For those listening, it rises in the middle. It like comes apart so that boats can go under it. No. I realize you all can't see my motion.
Can't see the motion. It's actually a high-tech microphone. Can actually
okay. So your phone is gonna, when you're listening to this, your phone is gonna bend in half. To show the motion.
That would be a real shame. I don't know if anyone would listen to it at that point.
No.
But yeah, well, thanks for coming out, Joanna.
No problem. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was a good conversation. Pretty standard, but yeah, I hope you have some fun traveling in the future.
Yeah.
And some good rest.
Yes. I plan to rest this evening.
Yeah.
Afternoonish.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, resting. It's important. Mm-hmm. It's important, and I guess I'm going to be forced to rest for the rest of the evening as well. So.
Yeah.
That's okay. I can live with that.
Yeah.
Well.
You could hang out with Gummy down there.
Yeah, Gummy.
Gummies plural down
Gummy,
there.
all the gummies, the whole Gummy family.
Mm-hmm. And McLeod will probably be back from band camp
should.
Eventually.
Last time he came back from band camp, it was like 1 a.m. Yeah. Well, band camp ended at 10:30, and then he went to somewhere. Those band kids, they're crazy. Almost crazier than the jocks.
Almost crazy.
Almost, not quite, but it's almost there. Mm-hmm. Well, thanks for listening, and we'll see you at a later time.
Mm-hmm.